welcome on stage the founder and president of Maya's Organization Philippines Incorporated, Luwani Chairperson for Philippines and author and publisher, multi-awarded global leader, the one and only Dr. Marieta Maya Monta.
Distinguished guests, honorary and awardees, my fellow sisters, community, friends and family. Good evening. Salam alaikum. Maayong gabi sa inyong tanan. Let me take this opportunity to thank you to each and everyone who is here tonight, from the local, national, and the Philippine government. Most especially, thank you to the PNP Serbisyong Magkaisa to serve and protect our country. Our heartfelt gratitude and thank you for all your service throughout this 5 days event. And to those who traveled from all over the world to be here tonight, we made it.
Yes! Woo!
I joined Luwani in 2018 when I met Professor Caroline, the founder of Luwani, and because of this, my life has completely changed and moved to the next level of my journey. Every one of us has a story to tell, but mine is unique. This is my journey. My name is Dr. Marieta B. Monta, or Maya. I was born and raised in the small village of Manuel Gianga, Tugbok, Davao City. I was the third out of 11 children and the first granddaughter. We were the poorest family in the village. My father was irresponsible. My mother is jobless and looking after my younger siblings. I was about 8 when my grandmother took me to live with her, as my parents could no longer afford to look after me and send me to school. One afternoon, I came home from school. It was gloomy, dark, rainy day. I found a man behind the door, drunk, domineering, asking me to go downstairs in the basement, treating me with knife and telling me not to scream or he will kill me. I stood shaking, feeling scared, powerless, in tears. I didn't understand why he was doing that to me. He grabbed my arms and forced me to lie down, ripped up my school uniform, and raped me. This occurred many times when I was living with my grandparents. I lived with constant fear, often sleeping between the ceiling and the roof in my grandparents' house. Sometimes I slept under the house with chicken and pigs just to hide away from him. I grew up in the next few years. He continually threatened me with knife or put me inside a sack and burn me alive. But I became stronger. I left in the village at the age of 13 years old. to stay away from him, to continue my studies in the city. Because of the poverty, my journey began in Davao City, then in Tagum, Compostela, Monte Vista, Agusan del Sur, Butuan, Bohol, Cebu, and finally in Manila at the very young age. I left in the Philippines in 1997 for Middle East. I was 21 years old. I wanted to find a better life to support my family. 1 year later, I was sent to London, United Kingdom, to work as a nanny and housekeeper. In the same year, I found happiness with my partner. Her name is Johnny. We lived together happily for almost 8 years in the United Kingdom. But sadly, he was diagnosed with liver cancer. We managed to get married in October the 30th, and he died in my arms peacefully on the following day, October the 31st, 2006, here in the Philippines. After my husband's burial day, I was kidnapped. For those people that I trusted because of the property conflict. Luckily, I managed to escape unharmed and flow back to United Kingdom to continue my life without him. It took me so many years to accept that he is no longer with me. In 2015, I found another man, but this was particularly difficult time for me. I thought I have found the love of my life, companionship with him. However, upon learning my dark secret, my new partner turned away from me. When I accidentally told him about my dark secret, he threw back into my face and telling me that it was my fault that I was raped and I must face the consequence. I feel betrayed, used and abused by the partner that I thought I could love and trust, the man that I thought I could spend the rest of my life with. I was suicidal. I was walking down in the middle of the city of London, sobbing with my tears. There was no one to lean on, and even worse, no shoulder to cry on. My only refuge was God Himself. Truly, I found Jesus dwelled in my heart, and this was the moment of my life turning point. While I was experiencing my struggles and difficulties, I met so many strangers who gave me water to drink, wiped my tears away, and gave me word of wisdom and encouragement. I wanted to turn my experience into something positive. One day, someone told me that God has a greater plan for you. I do not know what it was, but certainly He has. Then I realized that I have mission to do. I turned the pain into power. I set up Maya's organization in the Philippines in 2016 with my own source of income, which aimed to raise awareness on child sexual abuse in the Philippines. My childhood has provided me with courage to help children. After the loss of my husband and several miscarriages, I have dedicated my life to pursue my mission and reach my goals. That was then. My journey is painful, has made me who I am today. It has made me a stronger person to face the challenge. When I visited the 3 different foundations for sexual abuse children and rape victims in the Philippines, it was the biggest challenge of my life. First, In 2017, I visited Balay Dagupan under the City Social Service Development in Davao City, Mindanao. Second, in 2018, I went to Visayas the Chameleon Association, founded by Laurence Leger from France, Iloilo. Third, in 2019, my journey took me to Luzon, the Prida Foundation, founded by Father Shai Collins from Ireland. There was 40% of most children that I have visited from 6 years old and 18 years old abused by their relatives and closest members of the family. Whilst experiencing my personal experience and struggle, I started to the next level of my mission. There are 7,000 children are sexually abused in every year in the Philippines. More than 70% sexually abused are between the age of 10 to 18 years old, and the incest percentage is another alarming data of 36%. One child, one woman, raped in every 62 minutes. Nearly 5 million children are victims of trafficking worldwide. And there are as many unreported sexual abuse children, mostly in the remote area. After the global pandemic, there was increasingly increase in every corner of the world, especially the children whose parents went and left their children behind. As a Luwani chairman for the Philippines and advocate, it is my duty to work wholeheartedly in our country to tackle this problem that we are facing today. I am striving to find others to help us to make the better place for those victims. My special message to all of you, and listen this carefully. To all my fellow Filipinos and non-Filipinos, advocates around the globe, and especially to our Philippines government. I am here in front of you tonight, pleading with you to open your eyes and ears and open your hearts and listen to our voice. There are many children, men and women around the world who are victims and still live in the darkness. Because of what has happened to them, their voice must be heard. It is time to open up and break up the silence and no longer to be afraid. My life hasn't been an easy journey. It was painful, sometimes cruel. My parents failed to recognize what was happening to their child. My grandparents were also supposed to look after me, but failed to protect me. I tried to kill myself twice when I was a child, but thankfully, I didn't succeed. I was shy at school, quiet, alone, but no one would ask me if I was okay. Teachers all failed to notice. With such a neglect, I could have become another person, married early, become a prostitute, show hatred to my parents, relatives, or friends, but I don't feel that way. I don't blame them. I blame the perpetrator. When I was in the Middle East, if I hadn't taken the chance to escape, I would be working like a slave or come back home dead. When I was kidnapped, if no one would rescue me, I would have now buried next to my darling. If my life had ended tragically, I would not have been able to look after and protect innocent and precious children all my life, making sure that what was happened to me would not happen to them. If I had not had this kind of stranger passes by whom I came across by chance, who gave me water to drink, wiped away my tears, and gave me admiration, inspiration, word of wisdom, and spiritual healing, then certainly I would have died by now. In spite of all the painful experience and failure, and all other difficulties and obstacles, I am still moving forward.
We love you, Maya.
I am still taking the risk, because the more you take the risk, the more you will succeed. With this mission, we must open our hearts and work together with the real collaboration and partnership. We have heard how many victims are totally isolated, feel guilt or too scared to tell the truth because they knew no one would believe them. We saw, we knew, we heard across the social media, television, and the news of how many children missing, raped, and killed, and dumped in the ditches and forests. We see the tragic faces of the many parents grieving for the loss of their children. How many children are suffering in silence, terrified and speak the truth. Not every victim has the courage to stand up. Not every victim is so strong. Not every victim knows that it's not their fault. It took me 3 decades to break up my silence about my abuser by my own uncle. Now, I am free like a bird from the cage. When my uncle died many years later, I did not know how to feel. I could only think, but at least he could no longer hurt me, or I will never have to see him again. I am here to inspire those children and to tell them that it's not their fault. This is not the end of my journey. This is just the beginning. The beginning of the biggest one. We must act to prevent the crime and help the victims, at home and abroad. But we cannot achieve our aims without your support. We work so hard to provide for this project in every possible ways for the last 6 years, working as a nanny in London and a housekeeper. I will continue to do so. I've crossed so many bridges and faced the challenge. There are so many struggles, but I won't give up. I am crossing this bridge right now, and it's huge. Please, I am pleading with you all guys. I am encouraging everyone to look deeper and extend your gratitude to support this Maya's Foundation in every need. Because I have something that you don't have, and you have something that I don't have. If we can work together, we can change the better life of those children. I have put my heart, my strength, my dignity, and dedicated my whole life to this mission because in 1997, I left in the Philippines with nothing. After 25 years, I came back home with everything. I do not do this for myself. I do not have many degrees to show you, but my experience is more than just a piece of paper. I do this to inspire others, to create the better life for our country of the Philippines, and to the whole world. My success is your success. My legacy is your legacy. Thank you, Sokran, daghang salamat.